Hello, everyone. I'm the Caretaker, and welcome to BC's Video Vault. This was a segment that originally appeared on the Graveyard Show podcast in 2010, and it was a movie review segment where Brian Collins from Horror Movie A Day would review movies once a month. Now, there were 6 of these segments in total before the Graveyard Show podcast ended in mid-2010. This third segment comes to us from Graveyard Show podcast number 62 from March 25th, 2010. And in it, Brian reviews the films the remake of Sorority Row, Shallow Ground, and For Sale by Owner. Enough from me. Let's hear from Brian as we enter BC's Video Vault.
Hey folks, BC from Horror Movie A Day here with another edition of the Video Vault, where I give a few suggestions, old and new, as to what and what not to check out on DVD this month. First up is the Sorority Row remake, which just hit DVD. Didn't do too well in theaters, but I think it will play better at home anyway. The star is pretty much the entire movie takes place in a house, so you'll be able to identify with the characters. But really though, it's just a fun 90s style slasher where the focus is more on, everyone kind of having fun and a basic whodunit mystery, rather than like the hardcore gore and complicated twists and turns that you see in, like the Saw and Hostel type stuff that you see today. Plot is similar to I Know What You Did Last Summer. Our core group covers up an accidental death only to pay for their sins sometime later, except with an all-female cast. So that should appeal kind of to both sexes, really. The deaths are actually pretty creative. They're not very gory, and the killer doesn't really have a costume, just like this robe, but his weapon is pretty kick-ass. It's a tire iron with knives on the ends. But what I like the most is that the humor wasn't scream, wasn't self-referential, but just really dry sarcasm. Leah Pipes, Margot Harshman particularly, and Carrie Fisher, who's the house mother. They're all really, they're bitchy, but they're not to the point that you hate them. They're sarcastic, funny. It's a perfect Saturday night rental. If you have Blu-ray, the transfer is exceptional. But definitely worth a look if you're a slasher fan, and unlike most remakes, the original isn't exactly a revered classic, so you won't get in trouble for saying you liked it. Next up is Shallow Ground, which is a film from 2004 that I'd never heard of until I saw it on Netflix's instant viewing section, so I have to give them props for alerting me to it. It's directed by Sheldon Wilson, who has, he's also done a couple of the movies that are better than you'd think they would be, like the Killer Bird flick Caw, and the fairly entertaining Screamer sequel. It's not necessary, but it was fun and better than most of the direct-to-video sequels that we're seeing lately. Definitely better than the original, I thought. Anyway, this one kicks off when a teenage kid covered in blood walks into a small sheriff station in the woods, and figuring out who the kid is and where the blood is from is pretty much the focus of the film. I don't want to give away the surprise. Let me say this, I would never have guessed the answer, and it's not only surprising, but it's original. Sometimes I don't necessarily see the twist coming, but when I do, when it comes, I realize I've seen it in other films. I don't think any other film has had this particular concept. It's very densely plotted, so don't try to watch it in the background or something. This is one you have to give your full attention to. But I think you'll be glad you did, and I hope Wilson continues to deliver, above average genre fare. And finally, we come to For Sale by Owner, starring Scott Cooper. Now, the name Scott Cooper might sound familiar to you because he was nominated for Academy Awards for his film Crazy Heart, which actually won Jeff Bridges an Oscar. Therefore, you might be under the impression that For Sale by Owner, which Cooper also wrote, is some sort of unheralded horror gem. Sadly, this is not the case. I don't know if the film was mangled in post-production, or if they ran out of money during shooting, or what, but the movie just doesn't make much sense. And worse, it's really dull, and actually has missing cast members. Amy Teagarden from Friday Night Lights, which is a great show. She's like 5th or 6th billed in the movie, but only appears in a single shot. And I'm not even sure that's her, I just think it's her. The scene in question is presented in flash cuts and sepia tones. It's a flashback. And it's not a close-up, and it's really quick, so it could be anyone, but I just assume it's her because it's a female, and Miss Teagarden is not anywhere else in the movie. Process of elimination, Cooper may be a good writer, but he's not that great of an actor, and yet he's front and center for the entire movie. pretty much in every scene, and then while better actors like Rachel Nichols, Tom Skerritt, they're left playing undeveloped characters with confusing, unexplained character motivations. And the whole thing wraps up in an out of nowhere twist ending that negates most of what you just saw. In the end, it just proves once again that a horror film with several scenes revolving around real estate usually kind of sucks. Well, that's it for BC's Video Vault this month. Keep checking horrormovieaday.com for more reviews, and if you're in the Los Angeles area, information on special Horror Movie Day screenings at the New Beverly Cinema. In May, we're going to be doing Raw Meat, aka Deathline, starring Donald Pleasance, which is a pretty cool movie. So if you're in the area, come check it out. Back to you, Caretaker.
Thank you, Brian. Always great hearing your reviews. You can purchase Brian's book on Horror Movie A Day, appropriately titled Horror Movie A Day the Book, wherever books are sold. You can also catch him on the Shudder series Behind the Monsters as well. I would like to invite you to join me on the Graveyard Show podcast, where I interview people from the world of horror. It is available right here on YouTube, as well as everywhere podcasts exist. And you can also enter my Catacombs of Horror, which is a video production exclusive to YouTube, where I discuss different topics from the world of horror. Thank you for joining us. And as always, we look forward to reading your comments below as well. I'll see you again back here inside BC's Video Vault.